I want to, for a moment, Harish Biju, just step back from the noise of the two, if I may use the word, the polarization that the two parties have on this. I can't even show the ad, I'm told, that the Karnataka leader of the BJP has put out, effectively suggesting that Muslims are going to get the reservations that are meant for SC, ST, OBCs, because the kind of imagery is already now the subject of a criminal investigation. A complaint has been lodged with the EC as well. As someone who's seen advertising, and I'll play an old ad now of the Congress in 1984, when the Congress at that time was accused of spreading hatred and in fear and insecurity. Will the country's border finally be moved to your doorstep? This was in the days of Khalistan. Now you've got an ad which the BJP is putting out, effectively pitting Muslims against SC, ST, OBCs. Does it worry you? Or are advertisers also now simply playing this game of fear-mongering at election time?
Radip, advertisers do what they're asked to do. And typically during election time, it's an aberration time. I typically say that an election time is an aberration moment in our lives. When a lot happens, when a lot of noise happens, and then we come back to the normal. So I think the normal times are going to come back once again. But let me look at campaigns. Typically, I've been watching campaigns over the years. Every campaign starts with a highest common denominator appeal. And most of the time, it's always a very positive campaign. But every election, literally every election that I watch, a positive campaign tends to become a negative campaign. Because, the opposition party is hit out at the ruling party wants to hit back. And I think, every piece of ammunition that is out there is brought to the fore.
No, but do negative campaigns work more than positive, Harish? Are you saying that why is it a campaign which starts about hope, about future, about jobs, eventually ends up, and in recent times, particularly about Hindu, Muslim or Pakistan? What does Pakistan have to do, frankly, with an Indian election? What Fawad Hussain says, one leader there suddenly becomes the subject of a narrative in this country. Do negative campaigns sell, in your view, more than positive?
Yes, typically speaking, particularly in the day and age of, the digital, the negative algorithm has a tendency to kick up negative messaging by a huge multiple. Whereas positive messages actually die after taking one cycle of the algorithm, full stop. And therefore, negatives tend to work. But then, there's a very important point to note that negatives work in the beginning, but they don't work all the time. Because, people sit up and people smell the coffee and say that, hey, listen, I'm not going to listen to negativity, which is coming at me all the while. I do not believe in the credibility of a political party that is always mocking the opposition. Or I will not believe an opposition party which is always mocking the ruling party. That is the line.
Okay.
I don't know why political parties want to debrand others. Don't debrand others.
That's a good point. That in your attempt to build your own brand. Yeah, good point. In your attempt to build what you stand for, do not debrand others. But Sanjay Hegde, in all of this, the Election Commission rather silent. The Election Commission doesn't seem to have moved on any of the comments made by different leaders that have been seen by many as hate speech. What does that say? That is it that we have a high tolerance level now for hate speech, that hate speech, or what many would interpret as hate speech, calling someone Ghuspetia and effectively singling out a community, today are no longer seen as hate speech? Is it normalized now?
I don't know whether it is normalized, but the Election Commission is showing a Nelson's eye to all kinds of things. Possibly because if it were to take up one case, then it would necessarily have to take up another. So you can't go after the Congress for hate speech, because then you would have to go into the BJP as well. Now, what this kind of silence or this kind of looking away has done, it is to encourage everybody to do it. And there is a competitive kind of hate speech which is getting into a hate spiral. If the Election Commission had acted in the first instance, the other instances would not have happened.
So should the Supreme Court step in, Sanjay? Because the Supreme, when hate speech, who's going to, if the Election Commission is not going to act tough, is the Supreme Court now going to have to act tough?
Well, that's a possibility. The Supreme Court can be petitioned to say that a constitutional authority is not performing whatever its remit is. And then the court can be moved to direct that particular authority. In fact, the Supreme Court in the 2019 cycle, in a matter which I had appeared in Harpreet Mansukhani, if I'm not mistaken, had specifically said that the Election Commission would take action in cases of appeals to religion. But that those orders of Chief Justice Gogoi seem to have now been forgotten. Maybe the Supreme Court will have to reiterate it, or even if the Supreme Court were to ask the Election Commission, surely you can't be that deaf. I am sure that the next few cycles at least may see a de-escalation. And one more historical fact, Rajdeep, all this Pakistan and all that, often I think it comes from the only city in India, Ahmedabad, where there are almost segregated areas with a border, and that side is referred to in popular parlance as Pakistan in the city. And that politics is still continuing.
Yes, I know that some of the statements were made just before Gujarat, which goes to the polls, happened. But I want to play what the Prime Minister said today, because there's a sense, Charan Singh Sapra, that the Congress party's divisions, cleavages are giving the opportunity to the BJP to make these arguments. Listen in to what the Prime Minister said a day after one of your spokespersons left the party, saying she was being targeted because she attended the Ram Mandir Pran Pratishtha. Listen in to what the Prime Minister said.
तुष्टीकरण में डूबी कांग्रेस ने अयोध्या में राम मंदिर का बायकॉट कर दिया। कांग्रेस का कोई नेता अगर भक्ति भाव से राम मंदिर चला जाता है तो उसे पार्टी से निकाल दिया जाता है।
You heard that, Charan Singh Sapra, a day after your spokesperson Radhika Khera says she's leaving the party because she was being ostracized or targeted for attending the Ram Mandir Pran Pratishtha. The Prime Minister has leapt onto that issue. How do you respond? Are you all scoring these self-goals yourself?
See, Rajdeep, let me also remind you that Prime Minister should have also mentioned the names of the Congress leaders who had been there and are not expelled from Congress party. Leaders like Ajay Rai, Nirmal Khatri, Vikram Aditya, leaders like Dipinder Hooda, Supriya Shrinet, Charanjit Channi, leaders like Akhilesh Pratap Singh, they have all been there and they have not been expelled. So Prime Minister is just, it's an election season and he's just trying to take an opportunity. Why Prime Minister is not talking on the videos of Prajwal Revanna? Why he's not talking on the Manipur issue? Why he's not talking on the medal winner females who were sitting in Delhi? Why he's not talking on those issues? Why is Prime Minister not talking on the Lakhimpur Kheri issue or on the issues of farmers? So Prime Minister is very selective and is trying to make the entire atmosphere in the third, fourth, fifth, sixth phase into a polarized atmosphere.
Right.
Why is talking about Musalman, Ghuspetia, Mangal Sutra, all these things? He's talking just because he knows that in first two phases BJP is losing miserably, and if he doesn't go for this aggressive campaign of Hindu, Muslim or the divisive politics, he might lose the other phases also.
Okay.
And he's being supported by his own leader to amplify it. Yogi Adityanath is talking about Islamikaran. He's putting in a fear of, Islamophobia. Then Rajnath Singh comes and he says that there might be reservation for Muslim in armed forces also. Amit Shah says that Congress party is eyeing the wealth of Hindu monasteries and temples. So what is going on in India?
Okay, you made the point. I have just a minute. You've given me examples that Sanju Verma...
all the leaders are just going on amplifying what Narendra Modi is saying.
Okay, you made the point. Come in now. One final point, and I have a minute on it, Sanju Verma, that after the first two rounds, the BJP has decided to change the tack of this campaign. Wherever possible, bring in Islamophobia, Hindu, Muslim. That is your comfort zone, according to Charan Singh Sapra. You are desperate, he says.
Okay. I'm surprised to see that a party which won 303 in Lok Sabha 2019 is supposedly desperate. And Rahul Gandhi, who has lost 54 out of the 59 big and small elections for his party, इनको अभी भी launch or relaunch or re-relaunch किया जाता है with great gusto. I did not interrupt this man. Can you please moderate?
No, just a minute.
आप अभी हार रहे हैं.
This is
Charan
unfair.
Singh, just a minute. Finish off,
Yeah.
Sanju Verma. Please finish off without attacking anyone.
Thank you. No, I'm not attacking anyone. I'm only showing the mirror to somebody
Yeah,
who has
please.
chosen to speak out of turn about the Prime Minister. I know what to say and how much to say. Thank you, Rajdeep. You know, first and foremost, let's be very clear. Do you know something? India has 6 lakh mosques. More than even the number of mosques in Indonesia, which supposedly has the highest concentration of Muslim population. The number of mosques in Egypt are about 100,000. Number of mosques in Saudi Arabia, around 94,000. Number of mosques in Iran, around 75,000. Number of mosques in Pakistan, 15,000. Number of mosques in Malaysia,
What's the point
less
you're
than
making?
10,000.
Very quickly,
I'm
ma'am. I have
coming to
limited
that.
time. What's
I'm
your
coming
point?
to that. I'm coming to that. आप मुझे बताइए पिछले 10 सालों में क्या एक भी मॉस्क को गिरा फेंका है नरेंद्र मोदी की सरकार ने? नो. एंड द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट इन 20 seconds you need to now give me time. Aligarh Muslim University, Jamia Millia Islamia, Central University of Hyderabad and Maulana Azad Urdu National University are all centrally funded or largely centrally funded. Maulana Azad University gets more
No, so
than
why do you need to
200
make...
crores every year.
No, you're not
Why
responding
is
to
it
Charan
that
Singh
you are not
Sapra.
allowing me to
Charan
finish?
Singh Sapra, to his
So can I
credit, has
finish?
today given specific examples.
Can I
He has
finish?
given very
You are not
specific
giving me
examples of
time
the
to
kind of
answer.
language being used.
Can
Should
I
a defense
finish?
minister even suggest that
Can I
reservations
finish?
for Muslims will
What
be
is
there
the
in the armed
problem?
forces?
What is
What
the
basis?
problem?
This is dog whistling.
Can you finish? Can I finish, please? Rajdeep
Please respond to
Sardesai?
him.
Why are you getting so agitated?
No, you must respond
I
to
will
him.
say what I have to say.
I don't get agitated. I do
finishing.
yoga in the mornings.
No, you don't do yoga in the morning, and if you do yoga, then you're a very bad brand ambassador for yoga.
Jelly.
Because somebody who does yoga
Doesn't
cannot
have
be
any
behaving the way
point,
you behave.
pointed answer.
Rajdeep Sardesai
Are
is
you
a
going to
very
answer
poor
Charan
brand
Singh
ambassador
Sapra
for
or
yoga.
attack me? I don't...
Can I please finish?
Yeah.
Don't eat into my time. You are
Why
the
are your
bad habit of
leaders
making the
raising
BJP.
Hindu-Muslim? Last time. I'm asking you one last time. What is the need?
I'm answering, don't heckle Rajdeep. Thank you. Now listen to this or repeat, and you will not heckle me. Your audience needs to hear this. Rajdeep Sardesai ki audience ध्यान से सुनिए. Under the Narendra Modi dispensation in the last 10 years, I repeat, more than 1,200 crores every year to Jamia Millia Islamia. That number was only 200 crores under the Congress government. More than 672 crores every year to Aligarh Muslim University. That number was less than 100 crores under the Congress government. More than 1,300 crores every year to Central University of Hyderabad. That number was merely 300 crores under the Congress government. And in all these universities, Muslims get reservation. Dalito ko reservation nahi hai, Rajdeep
No, that's
ji.
exactly it. So why not talk about the positive, as
hai.
Harish Bijur said? Why not then reflect a
Adivasiyon ko
positive
reservation
brand
nahi hai.
rather than make fear-mongering of the other side? Exemplify what you're saying in your speeches instead of doing fear-mongering of the other. That's the worry. Okay, I've heard both sides. I've heard both sides now. I've given you equal time, ma'am. You cannot complain today. Volume down. Harish Bijur, 30 seconds at the end. You've heard these politicians. Do you believe that they all need to find a new way of doing their politics? Or this is the politics of the 21st century? Whether it's a Donald Trump in the US or whether it's our leaders here, whether it's the kind of fear-mongering is now part of Indian politics. And it even happened in 84 with the Congress.
Well, Rajdeep, a quick revert would be to say that this is politics. Let's enjoy it. And it will last only for a period of time till the elections are over. The last point I'd like to say is on the point of fear. I can only think of Roosevelt when, during the Great Depression, he said, the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Okay.
And I think we should stay away from fear as far as possible.
Yes, Sanjay Agde, 30 seconds.
Well, if the voters do not like this and they vote against this Hindu-Muslim kind of dichotomy, it will automatically die down.
Okay. ये public है, hopefully सब जानती है. May the best team win and hopefully give this country the politics of hope and not of fear.